Together we are tackling this disease, and I want to reassure you that if we remain united and resolute, then we will overcome it.
Queen Elizabeth has been around for quite some time now and has been the subject of political talks throughout the years. And despite being queen, there's a limit on what she can do, which isn't a problem for her since she's been known to be frugal and keeps a tight rein on her money matters. As said by the queen's former advisor, no one is tighter at spending than the queen. She grew up during the war, very disciplined. Hey guys, welcome back to our channel once again. For today's video, we will be discussing another curious topic that many know about, and it's about Queen Elizabeth's spending habits. What does she spend her wealth on, and how much did she inherit from becoming the Queen of England? Let's find out more with today's video. But before we get into the details, make sure you've already given this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel with the alarm bell turned on so you'll get notified of our new uploads. Queen Elizabeth II. What's her story? We only think it's proper that we introduce Queen Elizabeth II first, before we get into her spending habits and finances, so we'll be giving a quick rundown about Her Majesty. Born as Elizabeth Lilibeth Alexandra Mary on April 22, 1926, in Mayfair, London, she was the first child of the Duke and Duchess of York. She was crowned at the age of 27 back on June 2, 1953, in Westminster Abbey. Before her coronation, Elizabeth became the head of the Commonwealth and Queen Regent of independent countries, namely the United Kingdom, Australia, South Africa, New Zealand, Pakistan, and Ceylon after her father died back in 1952. She married the former Prince of Greece and Denmark, Philip, the Duke of Edinburgh, and together they had 4 children: Charles, Prince of Wales, Anne, Princess Royal, Prince Andrew, Duke of York, and Prince Edward, Earl of Wessex. Elizabeth holds the record as the longest reigning and longest-lived British monarch, as well as the longest-serving current head of state. On February 6, 2017, Elizabeth became the first British monarch to celebrate a Sapphire Jubilee, commemorating 65 years on the throne, and it looks like she's well on her way to the Platinum Jubilee, which will be the first time any British monarch has reached the historic milestone of 70 years on the throne. Where does Queen Elizabeth's wealth come from? Queen Elizabeth and the rest of the royal family are known for their lavish lifestyles, which brings forth the question, where do they get the money to live as such? According to the BBC, the royals amassed their fortune in part through the taxpayer-funded sovereign grant. On the other hand, Business Insider reported that the Queen, as well as the other members of the royal family, get their finances from surrendering the profits from their slew of properties, which is called the Crown Estate. Numerous reports have shown that the Queen will receive an amount from the grant equivalent to 25% of the Crown Estate's profits, the outlet reports. This grant also shoulders the palace upkeep, the employees who work at the palace's payroll, and family travels, to name a few things. However, as said by Telegraph, it doesn't cover the cost for royal events and securities as reported by the Business Insider. But there's more to it than that, since the royal family is paid through a mix of public and private money. That's on top of net worths that include inherited wealth, a significant real estate portfolio, and other assets. But when it all comes down to it, the Queen and the royal family have 3 major sources of income, and their expenses are also being paid by these bodies: the public sovereign grant, and the private duchies of Cornwall and Lancaster. The public sovereign grant. The Queen's official duties and anything related to maintaining the occupied palaces have been paid for by government-administered annual lump sum called the Sovereign Grant since 2012. It is officially described as funding for the Sovereign Grant comes from a percentage of the profits of the Crown Estate revenue, according to the British monarchy's official website. The Crown Estate, on the other hand, can be roughly described as a collection of UK properties and farms that generate hundreds of millions of pounds each year, as explained by CNN Money. These occupied palaces were a part of the lands which were first surrendered in 1760 by George III, which were to be managed by the Treasury as time progressed. The Crown Estate technically belongs to the reigning monarch, but as their site clarifies, it is not the private property of the monarch. It cannot be sold by the monarch, nor do revenues from it belong to the monarch, and is presently being overseen by an independent organization's board. The Privy Purse and the Duchy of Lancaster. The Privy Purse includes Her Majesty's actual income, which also comprises her estates. The Queen's income is drawn from the Duchy of Lancaster, which is a portfolio of land, property, and assets held in trust for the reigning sovereign. The Privy Purse received approximately £20 million back in 2018 alone from the Duchy of Lancaster, which is equivalent to about $26 million. The Queen and her husband used a portion of this money to cover additional expenses, as well as to pay for her children a salary for their schedule of royal events across the globe. The Duchy of Lancaster is made up of residential, commercial, and agricultural properties, and contains $715 million worth of net assets as reported by the Insider. The Duchy of Cornwall, described on the official website as the private estate that funds the public, charitable, and private activities of the Prince of Wales and his family, and was established back in 1137. The Duchy of Cornwall covers the expenses for the Queen's son, Prince Charles, and his family and heirs. The Duchy of Cornwall covers Duchesses Camilla as well as Prince William and his family, BI reports. According to one outlet, the Wall Street Journal placed the value of the Duchy of Cornwall at $1.2 billion in 2019. The Duchy of Cornwall is made up of several properties and land in 23 English countries, and a handsome portfolio of investments. Most of Prince Charles and Camilla Parker Bowles' income, amounting to 90% as reported by CNN Money, is from the Duchy of Cornwall. Prince Charles pays Prince William and Kate Middleton, and formerly Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, through revenue surplus from the Duchy of Cornwall. Since Prince Harry and his wife Meghan Markle already exited their royalty status, they rely on the late Princess Diana's, her mother's, inheritance as well as through a deal signed with Netflix and Spotify. What are Her Majesty's assets? And what does she spend her money on? It's difficult to say how much Her Majesty spends daily, but several reports have come out about how much she spends in a year. Queen Elizabeth is the richest member of the family, with Forbes reporting that the British monarch was worth around $88 billion, roughly £72.5 billion. In 2020, whereas the Sunday Times Rich List reports that Queen Elizabeth is estimated to be personally worth £350 million. As said earlier, she benefits from the Crown Estate, which also holds $14 billion worth of property in the UK. The Queen personally owned several royal properties, such as the $140 million Balmoral Castle, where she vacations every summer, and the family's $65 million country home, Sandringham, where she and her families traditionally spend Christmas. Aside from that, she's also known to hold a royal stamp collection, which was started by King George V, and she's highly invested in horse racing. In fact, she won approximately $9.2 million in prize money over the years for her racehorses, with 451 wins. David McClure, a royal finance expert, has previously stated the racehorses are the Queen's only big extravagance, saying this is quite an expensive hobby. At one stage, she had about a strong of about 20 thoroughbred horses. She had 3 studs, she had stables. It was estimated in around 2000, it was costing about £600,000 a year just to run that. He added further, the Queen had her horses partake at races at the Royal Ascot and the Epsom Derby, to name a few, and also oversaw the breeding at the Sandringham Stuttery. At the weekend, when the sovereign is at Windsor, she can be spotted riding one of her favorite horses through Windsor Great Park. And since we're on the topic of animals, we're guessing it's also fair to consider the 2 corgis owned by the Queen, named Fergus and Muick. She named the first one Fergus, who's a cross with a dachshund, after her late uncle Fergus Bowles Lyon, who died during World War I in 1915. According to The Sun, while Muick, who was reportedly purchased for £2,650, equivalent to almost $3,700, is named after Loch Muick on the Queen's Balmoral estate in Scotland, where she and her family travel to often for picnics. The Queen is believed to have owned at least 30 corgis during her reign, with the first being gifted to her on her 18th birthday, which was named Susan, and it is believed that the rest of her corgis descended from Susan. Her corgis are all cared for and are usually fed with fine cuts of meat cooked in the royal kitchens. A former chef from the kitchens revealed he simmered rabbit, cooked down some chicken, then finally chopped the meat, sieved the stock, and returned the meat for the dogs. And that wraps up everything we found about Queen Elizabeth's spendings. We hope you enjoyed watching today's video as much as we enjoyed making it. And don't forget to hit the like button before you go. While you're at it, don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more content like this, and hit that notification bell as well so you'll be notified as soon as we post something new. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next episode.